Welcome to Luxury Stories 24/7, where every story is full of emotions, lessons, and unforgettable moments. Get ready for a journey of love, betrayal, and healing. Let the story begin. Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named Clara Benson. She was 26 years old and the only child of a very rich businessman in Lagos. Clara was not the kind of girl people expected to see as the daughter of a billionaire. She was fat, quiet, and humble. She didn't wear heavy makeup or expensive clothes, even though her father could buy her the world. Clara believed in simple things: peace, kindness, and true love. Many people talked behind her back. Some laughed at her size, while others said she would never find a man to marry her. But Clara didn't care. She worked hard in her father's company as a junior staff, even though she had every right to sit at the top. Her father, Mr. Charles Benson, loved her dearly and was proud of her. "Clara, why don't you just take the manager position?" her mother, Mrs. Grace Benson, would ask. Clara would smile and say, "Mummy, I want to learn from the ground. I want to earn my way up." One sunny Monday morning, Clara was in the company's reception area when a man walked in. He was tall, handsome, and confident. His name was Victor Adams. He had come to apply for a contract job as a project coordinator. Clara greeted him kindly and directed him to the HR office. She didn't know that simple smile she gave would change her life forever. Victor noticed her kindness and softness. Later that day, when he found out she was the owner's daughter, his eyes opened wide. He couldn't believe it. He thought rich girls would be rude and proud, but Clara was the opposite. That evening, Victor went back to his small rented room in the mainland and began to plan. "This girl is my golden ticket," he told his friend Tunde over the phone. "She's the only child. If I play my cards well, I'll marry her and inherit everything her father owns." "But she's fat," Tunde said. "So?" Victor replied. "I don't care. Once the money enters my account, I'll be the one laughing." The next week, Victor began to show interest in Clara. He would come to her office with gifts: fruit, books, flowers. Clara was surprised but happy. No man had ever treated her like a queen before. He made her laugh. He called her "my sunshine" and wrote her sweet notes. At first, Clara refused to believe it. "A man like Victor can't truly love me," she told her best friend Sandra. "Exactly," Sandra replied. "Be careful, Clara. Something about him doesn't sit well with me. But love is blind." Clara fell deeply. She believed that maybe God was finally answering her prayers. After 6 months of dating, Victor asked her to be his wife. He knelt in front of her with a diamond ring and said, "Clara, you are my joy. You are beautiful, kind, and everything I prayed for. Please marry me." Clara cried. It was the happiest moment of her life. She hugged him and said yes. Everyone celebrated. Her mother was happy, but her father, Mr. Benson, looked at Victor carefully. He noticed how Victor never talked about his own background and how he asked too many questions about their family business. One night, Mr. Benson called his lawyer and said, "Transfer everything to Clara's name. Let her become the full owner of my company's properties and accounts. But don't tell her yet." "But, sir," the lawyer said. Mr. Benson interrupted. "I just have a feeling. I want to protect her." A week later, Victor and Clara's traditional wedding took place in Enugu, where Clara's mother's people came from. The celebration was grand. There was music, dance, and rich food. Everyone clapped and laughed as the couple smiled together. But Victor's heart was not smiling. His mind was counting the money, houses, cars, and company shares. "Soon I'll be the boss," he thought to himself as he held Clara's hand. Back at home, Clara's friend Sandra pulled her aside and said, "Are you really sure about this man?" Clara smiled shyly. "Yes, Sandra, I know it's hard to believe, but I feel peace with him." Sandra wasn't convinced. "Just promise me you'll watch him. Don't ignore the signs." "I promise," Clara said, hugging her tightly. Days passed, and Victor started talking about money. He asked Clara to help him open a business. Clara, trusting him, gave him a huge sum quietly. He thanked her sweetly but never told her what he used the money for. Then one evening, Mr. Benson called Clara into his study. He handed her a brown envelope. "My dear daughter," he said, "don't open this unless you ever feel your heart is breaking." Clara was confused. "Daddy, is everything okay?" Mr. Benson looked into her eyes. "I just love you too much to see you cry. Keep this letter close. It holds answers you may one day need." Clara nodded, still unsure what he meant. She placed the envelope in a secret box and didn't open it. Meanwhile, Victor was now married to a woman who truly loved him. But he had no love for her. At night, he would check her phone and emails, trying to find out how much she really owned. But to his shock, there was nothing in her name that pointed to her owning anything. One night, while Clara was asleep, Victor picked up her phone and tried to break into her banking app. He failed. Instead, he called Tundi again. "Bro, I think her father is smarter than I thought. Nothing is in her name." "So what will you do?" Tundi asked. "I'll keep playing the good husband until her father gives up and hands everything to me." But Victor didn't know he was playing with fire. Mr. Benson, watching quietly from the side, began gathering evidence. He kept records of Victor's strange behavior, his fake business deals, and his private meetings with shady people. The man was not as foolish as Victor believed. Clara, on the other hand, was still in love. Even when Victor shouted at her one evening for refusing to give him her company login details, she said, "Victor, I trust you, but please don't make me choose between my father and you." Victor apologized quickly. "I'm sorry, my love. I'm just under pressure." Clara forgave him, but her mother noticed everything. "That man is hiding something," she told her husband. "I know," Mr. Benson said. "Let's give him rope to hang himself." And just like that, the rope was already getting tighter around Victor's neck. One Sunday afternoon, Victor came home from church with a fake smile on his face. He entered the bedroom and looked at Clara. "You know, babe," he said, "I think we should ask your dad to make us joint owners of his company. It will show that he truly accepts me." Clara looked at him and said, "Victor, I don't think we should talk about that. My dad is not ready for that step yet." Victor's smile faded. "Why are you always defending him? I'm your husband now." Clara was quiet. She looked at her husband and suddenly felt something strange. For the first time since they got married, her heart was not smiling. Something was wrong. Something deep. And maybe, just maybe, the envelope her father gave her might soon be opened. Clara tried to shake off the strange feeling in her heart, but it followed her like a shadow. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay beside Victor, watching him as he slept peacefully. She wondered if she was just overthinking, or if there was truly something dark behind his sweet smile. The next morning, Victor woke up early and kissed her on the forehead. "Good morning, my love," he said. "I was thinking we should go see your father today. Let's talk to him about putting our names together on the family business." Clara was silent for a moment. She smiled weakly and said, "Victor, let's give it more time. My father just wants to be sure everything is right." Victor's smile dropped again. He tried to hide his frustration, but it showed. "Clara, I'm your husband now. We're a team. If he truly accepts me, he should show it." "I know," Clara replied softly. "But it doesn't work like that. Let's just take things slow." Victor nodded, pretending to agree, but inside, he was boiling. As soon as Clara went to shower, he took her phone and tried to unlock it again. This time, he guessed her password correctly. He went through her messages and emails, but found nothing helpful. He searched her banking apps, but they needed fingerprint access. He hissed and dropped the phone. Later that week, Victor visited his friend Tunde again. They sat in a small bar, drinking and talking. "Bro, the girl is too smart," Victor said. "Or maybe her father is the one holding everything. I've been married for 2 months now and still nothing. I'm tired." Tunde laughed. "You know they try. Use style. Press her well. Love her small. Manipulate her brain. She go open up." Victor smiled. "I need to get something. Anything. If I can get control of the company, my life will change forever." Back at home, Clara was in her father's house for lunch. Mr. Benson looked at her and asked, "How is Victor?" Clara nodded slowly. "He's okay, Daddy. He just wants to be part of the company." "And how do you feel about that?" "I don't know," Clara answered. "Clara, he says it's because we are a family now, but sometimes it feels like he only wants the position." Mr. Benson leaned forward. "Clara, don't be afraid to see the truth. Some people wear masks for a long time, but with time, the mask will fall." Clara looked down and nodded. She didn't tell her father everything. She wasn't ready yet. The following week, Victor told Clara he wanted to start a new business. "If we open a tech company in Lekki, I can grow something big," he said. "But I need a loan. Maybe 10 million naira to start." Clara's eyes widened. 10 million? Victor smiled and rubbed her hand. "Don't worry. It's not for nothing. You'll see me become a big man. You'll be proud of me." Clara hesitated. She didn't want to say no, so she told him, "Let me talk to my dad. I think he might want to see your business plan first." Victor's face changed. He stood up from the sofa and looked at her with sharp eyes. "So now I have to pass through your father to breathe?" "No, Victor. That's not what I meant," Clara said quickly. "I just meant it's a lot of money. My dad knows business well. He could guide you." Victor shook his head and walked out of the house. That night, he didn't come home until 2 a.m. He smelled of alcohol and perfume. Clara didn't ask questions, but her heart was heavy. The next morning, Sandra visited Clara. They sat in the living room drinking juice and talking. "Clara," Sandra said, "are you sure you're okay?" "I'm fine." "No, you're not. You've lost weight and you don't smile like before." Clara tried to hold back tears. "He has changed, Sandra. He shouts, he complains, he stays out late. He wants full control of the company." Sandra sighed. "Open your eyes, Clara. This man may not love you the way you love him." Clara nodded slowly. "My father gave me an envelope before the wedding. He said I should open it only if I feel betrayed. I still haven't opened it." "Maybe it's time," Sandra whispered. That evening, Clara sat in her room, alone. She stared at the brown envelope. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a letter from her father. It read, "My dearest Clara, if you are reading this, it means something has gone wrong. I want you to know that I trust you, but I also saw what you could not see. I saw Victor's eyes, full of lies and hunger. Before your wedding, I transferred all my businesses, properties, and accounts to your name. You are now the full owner of everything. Victor owns nothing, not even the house you sleep in, not even the cars he drives. They are all yours. I did this to protect you. If you ever feel unsafe, use the power you have. Don't be afraid to stand up. You are my daughter, and you are stronger than you know. Love, Daddy." Clara sat frozen, her eyes filled with tears. She was shocked and grateful at the same time. She now understood why her father never seemed worried. He had already protected her from the beginning. The next day, Victor came home angry. "I just got a call from your father's lawyer," he shouted. "He said I have no legal rights to your father's company. Are you playing me, Clara?" Clara stood up and looked at him calmly. "You're not playing me," he said again, now pointing his finger. You used me. You made me think I would be part of your rich family. But now I see you were just acting like a saint." Clara didn't speak. Victor continued, "You know what? I don't need this marriage. I don't need your pity. You think because you're rich and fat, you can control me?" Clara's face changed. She looked at him with quiet strength. "So, all this time, you were only here for the money?" Victor laughed bitterly. "Of course. You think I would have looked at someone like you if not for your father's money? Wake up, Clara." Clara felt something break inside her, but she didn't cry. Not this time. She walked past him and said, "Thank you for showing me the truth." That night she called her father. "Daddy, it's time. I want to act. He doesn't love me. He used me." Mr. Benson's voice was calm. "Then do what you must, my daughter. You hold all the power now." The next morning Clara dressed in a sharp black gown. She looked in the mirror and didn't see a fat, quiet girl. She saw a woman, a strong woman who had been fooled, but now had the chance to take back her life. And Victor? He had no idea that the storm he created was now turning against him. Clara didn't waste time. She had cried enough. The man she had loved with her whole heart had mocked her, insulted her, and used her. Now it was time for action. Early that morning she called her father's lawyer, Mr. Martins, and booked an emergency meeting. When she arrived at the office, she walked in with confidence. Mr. Martins, a quiet elderly man with white hair and glasses, stood up to greet her. "Mrs. Clara Adams," he said, "I was expecting you." Clara sat down slowly. "I want to remove Victor from everything. Access to the house, the company, the cars, everything." Mr. Martins nodded. "It will be done, madam. Your father already gave me permission to act if this day ever came. I will file the documents today. By law, he has no rights to any of your property." Clara closed her eyes and breathed deeply. She had never thought her life would end up this way. She had dreamed of a happy marriage. She had prayed that Victor would love her. But all he had ever loved was what she had, not who she was. Meanwhile, Victor was at home calling Tundi again. "Guy," he said with panic in his voice, "Clara and her father played me. Everything is in her name. Nothing is mine." Tunda sounded confused. "How? I thought the company belonged to her dad." "It doesn't matter. She owns everything now. I've been living in a house I don't own, driving cars that are not mine. Even the credit card I used last week was under her company account. So what will you do?" "I need to act fast before she locks me out. I still have her signature on some papers. I can use them to transfer a few things to my name." That same evening, Victor went to see a crooked lawyer he knew in Ikoyi. He gave him a copy of Clara's signature from an old form she had signed. "I need to use this to transfer 2 company properties into my name," he said. The lawyer looked at him and said, "This is fraud, but if the payment is right, it can be done." Victor handed over an envelope full of cash. "Just do it. I can't walk away with nothing." Back at home, Clara began packing Victor's things. She called security and told them to change the gate code by morning. She called the driver and told him not to pick Victor anymore. She even called the company's HR department and instructed them to cancel all access Victor had in their systems. The next day, Clara's heart was heavy, but her face was strong. She drove to the company herself and walked into her office. Everyone was surprised to see her looking different. No makeup, no wig, just a strong woman in her natural beauty. Later that afternoon, Victor arrived at the office to find his access card no longer worked. He called Clara. "What is going on?" Clara answered with a calm voice. "You no longer work here, Victor." "What?" "I've removed you from everything. You can't do that." "I just did." He shouted. "You think you're smart? You think you're better than me?" "I don't need to be better than you," she replied. "I just need to be free from you." Victor threw his phone across his car. He was angry and confused. He didn't understand how the same woman who used to beg him for love was now standing tall without him. The next day, the crooked lawyer called him with news. "The documents have been submitted, but I must warn you, if she finds out and reports, you'll go to jail." Victor didn't care. "I'll leave the country if I have to." But what he didn't know was that Mr. Benson had eyes everywhere. He had already asked a private investigator to follow Victor's movements. Within 2 days, he got a full report of the fake documents. Clara took the report and went straight to the police. A case of forgery was opened against Victor. That evening, Victor returned home and met the gate locked. He called Clara again. "Open the gate, Clara, I live here." "No, Victor. You don't live here anymore." "I'm your husband." "You were never a husband. You were a thief pretending to love." Suddenly, police sirens sounded behind him. Before he could run, he was surrounded. "Mr. Victor Adams, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and attempted theft." Victor's mouth hung open. No, this is a mistake. Clara, please tell them it's a mistake." Clara watched from the balcony. Her heart was calm. Her face was cold. "This is your mistake, Victor. You betrayed love. Now face the law." As the police drove away with him, Clara sat down in her garden. Her mother came out and sat beside her. "You did well, my daughter," Mrs. Benson said. "I know it hurt, but you stood up for yourself." Clara nodded. "I gave him everything, love, trust, loyalty. But he wanted more. He wanted what wasn't his." Her mother hugged her. "Now you know. Now you can heal." The following week, Clara appeared in court to testify against Victor. He looked at her with empty eyes. He had lost everything, his freedom, his dreams, and the only woman who truly cared for him. Clara walked out of the courtroom, feeling light for the first time in months. She was free. But most of all, she was finally ready to begin again. 4 weeks passed since Victor was arrested. His name was in the news, and people were shocked to hear what he had done. Some called him a fool. Others said Clara was too gentle and that she should have seen it coming. But only a few knew how deeply she had loved him, and how much it had hurt to be betrayed by the one she trusted with her whole heart. Clara stayed indoors most of the time, not because she was ashamed, but because she needed to heal. She spent her days reading, writing, and walking in the garden. Every time she passed the spot where Victor had proposed to her, she would pause and breathe deeply. It was now just a memory, and memories don't control her anymore. One day she received a call from Victor's lawyer. The man asked if she could visit Victor in prison. He said Victor wanted to apologize. At first, Clara didn't want to go, but after thinking about it for days, she decided to visit. Not for him, but for herself. She needed to face him one last time, close the chapter, and let it go. She wore a simple gown with no jewelry, no makeup, just Clara, the woman who had walked through fire and come out stronger. When she entered the prison visitors' room, Victor was already seated. He looked thinner, tired, and completely defeated. His hair was rough, and his eyes were not proud anymore. They were full of shame. Clara sat down across from him. She didn't speak first. Victor looked at her and said, "You look different." Clara nodded. "I am different." He looked down. "Clara, I don't know where to begin. I did terrible things. I lied to you. I used you. I destroyed something beautiful." Clara remained quiet. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," he continued. "But I just wanted to tell you, I'm sorry, I truly am. If I could go back in time, I would change everything." Clara looked into his eyes. "Victor, you didn't just hurt me. You broke a heart that trusted you. You mocked my love. You laughed at my weight. You married me for money. And even after everything, I still gave you chances. But you kept digging deeper." He lowered his head. "But you're right about one thing," she said calmly. "You don't deserve forgiveness. At least not today. Forgiveness is a gift, and I'm still healing." Victor's voice broke. "I'm not asking you to take me back. I know I lost that chance. I just wanted to say sorry. For real this time." Clara stood up. "I came here today not because of you, but because of me. I came to close this chapter. You taught me a lesson I will never forget. But you also made me stronger. I now know that being kind is not weakness, that being fat doesn't make me less of a woman, and that real love cannot be bought or faked." Victor watched her as she turned to leave. "Clara," he called one last time, "will you ever forgive me one day?" She paused at the door. "Maybe, but I will never forget." Clara walked out of the prison building and felt something lift off her shoulders. For the first time in a long while, the sky looked beautiful again. She drove home, smiling softly. She had taken back her peace. Months passed, and Clara focused fully on herself. She started a foundation for young women who had faced emotional abuse and betrayal. She spoke at events. She shared her story, not to shame Victor, but to help others avoid the same pain. She grew in strength and beauty. She even lost some weight, not because anyone told her to, but because she wanted to feel healthier. And she did it on her own terms. One evening, while watching the sunset from her balcony, her father came to sit beside her. "I'm proud of you," he said. Clara smiled. "Thank you, Daddy. I'm proud of me too." "Do you still think about him?" "Sometimes," she said honestly, "but I don't cry anymore." Her father nodded. "Good, because you have a bright future ahead, and one day you'll find someone who will love you fully, with no lies." Clara leaned her head on his shoulder and smiled. And in that quiet moment, she knew she had finally won, not by fighting back with hate, but by standing tall with grace. Lesson: never marry someone who only sees your worth in what you have. Real love doesn't look at your body shape or your family wealth. It looks at your heart. If someone truly loves you, they won't try to take from you, they'll give to you. Don't let anyone make you feel small for being kind, quiet, or different. And most of all, when life breaks you, rise again, with your head held high and your heart still strong. Thank you so much for watching this story on Luxury Stories 24/7. We hope it touched your heart and taught you something special. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing and emotional stories every day. We would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. What did you learn? What touched you the most? Until next time, keep showing love, stay kind, and remember, every story has a lesson. Thank you so much for watching this story on Luxury Stories 24/7. We hope it touched your heart and taught you something special. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing and emotional stories every day. We would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. What did you learn? What touched you the most? Until next time, keep showing love, stay kind, and remember, every story has a lesson.